Alright, so let's get right into it. So Argus, if you didn't know, Argus is the developer, Cliff, on Discord here. So he says, while the update continues in the background, you can read about all the upcoming changes in the Medium article. Beware, there are a lot of changes. If you enjoy the article, be sure to clap the article, hold it down for up to 50 claps, which ensures the article gets to bubble at the top of various Medium categories. So it sounds like he's ready for the new players to come in. It also says in the article that new accounts will not be created immediately. You will not be able to register immediately until he's ready. So it's going to be still phased approach, but it should be within a few hours, maybe a day, maybe a couple days here. So new account holders, calm down. It'll be okay. You'll get in there very, very soon. So here's the Medium article. So Cliff says, a lot of changes have gone into this update, which follows hot on the heels of the Easter update. There's now a total of 15 adventures. 15. So we're going from, I don't have the game up, I can't get into the game right now, the update's taking place. But I think we're going from something like 6 or 7 adventures to 15. So almost triple. Maybe that's a lot. There are further themes to add in the future, but for now these 15 adventures have been rearranged and balanced, with resources shifted and scattered throughout. So different resources, different maps. The arcane pits, the once new, will now be vastly different, with new monsters and resources to explore. So let's take a look at this. We got Forgotten Chambers. We all know 1-star Forgotten Chambers. You can mine in Forgotten Chambers. Now we have a new Brawn Woodslands. And we have Salt Beach. So we have 3 one-sword dungeons. You can mine, fish, and scavenge. Let me see. Scavenge, yes. Then we have Arcane Pits. So we have 3 1-star dungeons, 3 2-star dungeons. Then we have 4 3-star dungeons that are going to be epic, I assume, that will let you take in epic loot. And then we have 3 4-star dungeons, which would probably be legendary. Then we have 1 5-star dungeon, so that kind of bums me out. I just bought my very first mythical Evan Brock egg, but we'll see. Might be very useful. 1 mythical dungeon and 1 transcendent dungeon, which is Mount Olkepth. So he's rebalanced all the monsters for this stuff. It's going to be more difficult. It says that in the article if we continue on. I only read through it once, so. Okay, so you got Forgotten Chambers, Brawn Woodslands. Anyways, in the 1-star sword dungeons, you can now mine if you choose to go the mining route. You can do fishing, you can do scavenging. Very cool. I always thought that why would new players always have to work on their mining skill first if they're still just, grinding that first level. So very cool. So the 2-star levels, Arcane Pits, mining, so it's the same as it used to be as far as resource gathering. It was mining, it's still mining. Ash Woods, I gotta get closer here. So it's the same as it was before, wood cutting and scavenging. And now we got this new one, the Vemen Desert, 2 stars, mining and scavenging. So this reminds me kind of Odinspire Sands, maybe an easier version of Odinspire Sands. But who knows, a 2-star might be even more difficult than the Odinspire Sands a 4-star used to be. Or I say star, but 4-sword. Then we have Shallow Swamps. The number of swords went from a 4 to a 3. Same with Trail Woods. So the 2 dungeons that we used to have as legendary, they were 4-star dungeons. 4-sword dungeons are now 3-sword dungeons. So pretty interesting there. We won't be able to bring in our legendary items for those maps anymore, but if they didn't change too much, I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. It might just take a little bit longer. Again, just lots of rebalancing that Cliff has done. So really cool. So the 2 stars, we got Vemen Desert is the new one. And then as far as the 3 stars, the epic ones go, it looks like we have 2 brand new dungeons. We have Vism Vaults. So look at this. This looks like a dungeon type map, similar to Chambers, Pits. I'm sure it's going to have some different cosmetics and probably monsters within the Vism vaults. And then we have Isle of Earl Endith. Earl Endith. Maybe I said that right. We'll see in the future what other people start calling it. So this is fishing, and it looks like scavenging to me. So super cool. Those are two of my favorite skills. I need to work on them some more, and I'm sure a lot of cool loot is going to be dropping in the Isle of Earl Endith. And then we got Trail Woods. Then we go up to Legendary category Old Kept Caverns. That used to be my favorite dungeon. We'll see if it still remains that way. It's probably going to kick my butt now, but I can't wait to play it. And then we have another outdoor map. Oakir Jungle. Oakir Jungle is a legendary map now. So in there we have scavenging and wood cutting. So similar to Trail Woods and Ash Woods. It's gonna be, yeah, you taking your scavenging and wood cutting. But oh, one thing to note, he took out fishing from Trail Woods, Ash Woods, according to this map. Fishing is no longer a thing there. So Old Kept Caverns, that remain the same. It used to be mining and fishing. It's still mining and fishing. So Odinspire Sands is still a 4-star dungeon, but I have a feeling it's a lot more difficult, especially now that he's released some of the footage from the new monsters that are in that dungeon. There's monsters that can summon other monsters, so we have to figure out our targeting system, if we're going to target the summoning monsters first, or what the heck is going on here. I can't wait to get into this. But looks like the resource gathering is the same. It looks like scavenging and mining. But I'm sure it's going to be more difficult, so make sure you take your potions and everything. And then this is a new one here, Zenerthil Wasteland. It looks like it might be an outdoor map. Maybe it's hard to tell from the background on this. It looks very dark, like it's at nighttime when we're going to be doing this map. Mining and scavenging. So pretty cool. Same as Odinspire Sands, this new mythical dungeon. I'm definitely going to be trying it out. I got that Ruby Evanbrock egg, and yeah, I can't wait to try it. Mount Olkef, still mining, and it's still got the highest dungeon difficulty. So that one's going to be a real challenge, I think, for people. So enough about talking about these different maps, even though this is super exciting to get all these new adventures. Let's read the rest of the article. There are new rarity limits on all adventures to allow for more challenging encounters and to keep you on your toes. So they changed the rarity limits like we saw. Looks like Trail Woods will no longer be able to take legendary items into the Trail Woods. Just one example. Monsters. It's been over a year since monsters were updated, and this patch brings out a whole new batch of these nasty critters. Some of the old monsters have been promoted to mini-bosses. I don't think anybody expected this. So some of the old bosses were used to probably just knocking down maybe creepers or something. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe Ogums. Maybe those are mini-bosses now. So it's got a little picture here. You can see a small sample of the new monsters you'll encounter. So some of the old monsters have been promoted to mini-bosses, while others have been scattered throughout various adventures. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it looks like you got a skeleton guy, a little lizard guy with a sword and a shield, this creepy dog werewolf type guy. We got another skeleton with armor and a dagger, and this looks like some beach level type green lizard type person with a staff. Maybe that's one of the summoners. This is gonna be for the Sands level. I seen Cliff did a little bit of a spoiler on some of the Sands monsters, so we're gonna have new Sands monsters. And it looks like a double or triple tail dog, triple tail blue dog thing. So yeah, we're gonna see lots of new monsters in this. Can't wait. I couldn't quite squeeze bosses in at this time. Hey Cliff, you can only do so much, man. This is a huge update, so as they really need a lot of attention, but rest assured they'll be making their way to Talmuth in the very near future. Some monsters can now summon other monsters. This adds to the fray, and it's a wise choice to seek out those doing the summoning. So he's telling us right now, Go after the one who's summoning the new monsters, or else they're just going to keep summoning monsters and you're going to be in trouble. So seek them out. Otherwise, you might end up overwhelmed and find yourself caught in a vicious loop. Yep, exactly. So, effects. Poisons, stuns, etc. have all been adjusted. Monsters who previously stunned 100% of the time. I can't think of monsters who previously stunned 100% of the time. But yeah, I'm fairly new to this game too. I only started in Easter, so... Oh, probably the Nether Demon. The Nether Demon did clap, but was that really a stun? Anyways. And for long duration have all been adjusted to shorter times with randomness. So there's more randomness in these monsters now. That can be good or bad. But the monsters will pack a larger hit on their first hit. These will be adjusted over time. So some of these monsters, we're gonna want to stay away from them. If they hit us once, it might be a huge amount of damage. It might be proportional. It might not be the same every time. It's looking like we're gonna get into a new change here too, which is critical hits and stuff. Some older weapons and relics have gained new effects, with more to come in the upcoming patches. Let me take a drink. Weapon damage. All weapons now have damage values displayed. These values have remained the same for 2 years and were well overdue for some changes. You can see the stats displayed in the tooltips. So right here he's got a picture of a rusty sword. If you hover over it, it says 69 damage. It says one-handed 257 power damage. So if you're a stats fiend, you can hold down shift before hovering over a weapon, and the DPS, damage per second, and DPH, damage per hit values will be displayed too. So hold down shift, and then it looks like the picture below here. It'll take some time to get used to the new values, but that's what makes humans so great. You can adapt and learn. Yes, we can, and we will. The values across rarities of the same weapon type are all still the same. Some weapons have effects which differentiate them some more too. So we've already seen that with a couple of the bow and arrows. One of them is the epic bow, and I'm not really good with names, but it has a chance to slow down monsters, as well as the Santa Sleigh, the one-handed sword, which has a 15% chance to freeze enemies on hit. So there's going to be lots more weapons with lots more effects to differentiate them. But as far as the damage goes, he's keeping it the same across rarity levels for that weapon type. So if it's a one-handed melee, it sounds like it's still going to be the same damage across swords and axes, but that may not be the case. But if it's a one-handed sword and it's a legendary, another one-handed legendary sword is going to have the same damage. It may just have a different effect. So weapon dynamics. Bows have been split into short and long variations. Both have individual stats. Long bows can shoot further with more power, but are slower to fire. So that's what everybody was speculating. The bows haven't been slowed down at all. Simply, the short bow was added with a faster rate of fire. So, the long bow, the bows as we know them now, they're all going to be at least that fast. Short bows will be faster. So that's a good sign. I was kind of worried that the longbow would be real slow and I wouldn't want to use it. Kind of like the two-handed weapons were just not as good because they took so much longer to use. But now it sounds like the normal bow that we're all accustomed to, that was the right longbow speed, and then Cliff increased the speed even more for short bows. So sounds cool to me. One-handed axes have also been updated to have their own values, their own stats. So one-handed axes now have their own stats. I don't have any one-handed axes, so I can't comment on that. Some weapons will be more powerful depending on the situation you're in and the playstyle you prefer. Same as it always was. All damage values of weapons and monsters have been adjusted, so you will need to relearn the benefits and the new combat dynamics this creates. So I think with this update, it's going to make a lot of sense. You're going to want to have an axe, you're going to want to have a two-handed sword, you're going to want to have a short bow and a long bow, and you're going to want to have different varieties of those. You're going to want to have rare, transcendent, epics, even the one-star ones. So it's going to be interesting. Depending on which level you want to play, some of these weapons in their different rarity forms and different longbow, shortbow type styles, they're going to be the meta for this game. He doesn't want just one weapon to be the meta. He wants different play styles and different, not so much play styles, but different levels to have different metas, which, fantastic, Cliff. That's the way to do it. You know, keeps everybody more entertained. It's going to keep me more entertained and wanting to collect more of this stuff, and it's going to make the item values even more valuable. They'll all have uses, hopefully. That's the goal, I'm sure. Very lofty goal, but that's cool. So, explosive helpers. Oh wait, so I missed a thing. What did he say here? The values may be adjusted in the future. Take that into account when you're making your trades. So he's just saying he may nerf some of this stuff. So even though weapons have certain values, don't get mad at him for trying to balance the game. Explosive helpers. Explosives come in very handy to make short work of groups of monsters. Okay. So before, the only thing we used explosives for were to destroy those big boulders that were a pain in the butt in some of the dungeon levels. Now, they now feature a countdown and estimated range. So it looks like from this picture, there's, I don't know if this is just hand-drawn or if this is actually in the game, this red circle is an estimated range that if you're standing in it, you're going to get damaged. You're probably going to get killed if it's something like dynamite. I know that happened to a couple streamers. So, that's really cool. And it's got a countdown right there on it. It says 2 right in the picture. Make sure you stand clear of the range or you could accidentally be caught up in the blast. So personally, I find Wayward Dynamite to be very rewarding, says Cliff. So is that a clue? Is that dynamite going to be used to break into a lockout room? Who knows? But he specifically mentions Wayward Dynamite here. And I don't have a lot of that, so I might have to jump on that. So new off-chain blockchain weapons. The following weapons are available with the update and will start dropping in the various adventures. Awesome, new blockchain weapons. That's what everybody wants. The last Stampeder will drop in 1 week's time. See the end of the article for why. So what do we have here? The last Stampeder. This is a blue, rare, looks like a two-handed sword. Then we have another two-handed sword, legendary, Black Death. So I think I remember seeing this one. This one has like a plus 10% damage boost, which is a very good, what do we want to call it, amplifier on that sword. Most swords and bows currently do not have amplifiers or additional bonuses. Then we have the Iron Fang, which definitely looks like a small one-handed dagger, one-handed sword. That is a legendary. Then we have Scar Carver, which has, it's a really cool looking weapon. Little pink and purple dots all the way around it. I'm sure it's going to glow really nicely. And that is an epic two-handed sword, so I want to get one of those for sure. I am very low on epic weapons. Then we have two-handed sword, looks like a one-handed, it's a falcon. I don't know how to pronounce that sword type, but it's a Firelight Falcon. And then we have a bow, a rare bow, Scorpion Stinger, so that looks like maybe poison damage to me. It's got some green around the handle and everything. Then, big picture here, Trauma Hawk. This is definitely going to be a two-handed axe from the looks of it. And then another two-handed sword, epic Cavalier Crusader. So, I don't know too much about these. I haven't been paying attention. But those are all going to be dropping in the new adventures coming up. So, perfect time for new players to hopefully pick up one of these weapons and progress into the game. Hopefully for myself too, to start filling out some of my different loadouts for different legendary, epic, those type classes. So one of the biggest changes here that everybody's curious about, blockchain off-chain marketplace. When the update launches, the marketplace will be disabled until things settle down. So he doesn't want the servers crashing, the possibility that he's going to have to, as he said, go to the murder scene, the scene of the crime, and start putting the puzzle back together on, well, this caused this caused that, if there are problems with this update. And the problems occur because the huge amount of players that are going to be logging in for the first time and wanting to play with this new update, it'll be the same as the Easter event. So he's hedging his bet on this. He wants to make sure the servers can handle it before the off-chain marketplace, this new amazing marketplace, gets implemented. So super cool. I may choose a few select players to help with additional testing before it's released to everyone. Okay, yep, keep testing it while the game's live. That's what you got to do. This marketplace is powered by Shadow Stones, which can be purchased with Eng from the Engine wallet. You can convert Eng to Eng using the Engine wallet now. So I've already done it, super easy process. You open up your wallet on your phone, you tap the top right, there's going to be 3 buttons. You select Eng, then you select the top right, 3 buttons currently, then you select convert to Eng. That conversion is going to cost a small amount of Ethereum, depending on when you do it and what the gas fees are, but that's the only time you're going to have to pay gas fees. And then you select the amount that you want to exchange from Eng to Eng, and it appears in your wallet. So it worked flawlessly for me, and now I have a little bit of Eng there ready for these Shadow Stones. So I suggest you do the same. Go JumpNet. It seems like an amazing. I've used it to transfer to other wallets to buy a couple items. Super fast, amazing. That's gonna be the future. So don't be afraid to do the Eng to Eng. That's just my experience with it, at least. Both the purchase of the Shadow Stones and the marketplace will come online shortly after the update. Great. We've been this patient so far, we can be even more patient. Initially, you will not be able to convert Shadow Stones back to Eng. This is simply to ensure a safe and stable system and double check that if there are any issues, everything can be restored. So some people are going to be upset about this. So you buy your Shadow Stones, you're not going to be able to exchange them back to Eng, which then you can exchange to Eng when you have the amount that you want in the layer 2 solution. Then you can get your your fiat currency if you wanted to cash out like that. So, but I totally understand why he's doing it, and this is going to be a temporary thing, because remember, like the movie Office Space, where 0.001 of a cent, if it's rounded down, where does all that money go? It goes into this account. It's like theoretical, right? But what if there's a little bug like that, and it ends up draining Cliff's account, or money gets lost along the way? He wants to make sure everything's 100% working, 100% safe, fair to everybody. So he's got to test this very thoroughly. He's creating a whole marketplace for this exchange system. That is not easy to do. So give him time, let him make sure that everything looks correct on his end with all the trades. The first part of this exchange and marketplace, I'm definitely going to be jumping in using these Shadow Stones, because I know we'll be able to convert them to Eng and Eng in the future. Just got to be patient on that. So he's just saying we're not going to be there yet. We'll be there. We'll be 99% of the way there. Just be patient on the rest. So town updates. Yeah, so double check if there are any issues. Yep, that everything can be restored. He does not want to have a disaster. This is very scary to do an update like this. It can end in disaster. So if this goes flawlessly, tell him thanks, because it's amazing if something like this goes without a hitch. This is so huge. And if it has issues, be understandable. It's way more difficult than a lot of people think to implement something like this for thousands of players. Town updates. The Emporium has been moved to a new location. Check the mini-map to locate it. So it's not going to be next to the cooking station maybe now. The town changes over time. Sometimes in small ways, sometimes in large ways. Secrets sometimes materialize or disappear. If you're a true adventurer, you'll know to occasionally scour for new additions. So he's got plans for town changes, maybe little secrets, maybe different shopkeepers will be selling things at different times. So he says just explore, and maybe you'll be the first to see some new secrets, which I love secrets, Easter eggs, man. So, flour and water resources. I know this has changed a lot, and it used to be the way that new players got food to go into dungeons. So let's see what he says about flour and water. Flour and water are no longer global resources. So you can't just harvest them out of town, apparently. Instead, they're more localized so that everyone can have a chance at obtaining them. So localized, so maybe every account can get 30 a day or something like that. We'll see what that means exactly, but he's thought about flour and water, and I know that's going to help a lot of new players get started in the game and create the food they need to stay alive. Emporium upgrades. Oh, and he says if you're not up to, okay, instead they're more localized so that everyone can have a chance at obtaining them. If you're not up to the task, there's always plenty available for sale in the Emporium. Okay, so yeah, they should be cheap in the Emporium. They shouldn't be too difficult to get. So Emporium upgrades. The Emporium has a few visual changes when creating offers. The details and currency are displayed along the additional information where appropriate. So let's see, we got a couple pictures here. Create sell offer. This is what it used to look like. This all looks about right. But now there's these gold icons. So this is definitely differentiated from these Shadowstone. I think it's Shadowstone, right? This is such a new patch. So anything I say here, don't take it too far into the future. But hopefully it's all good, accurate information. I'm just doing a little bit of speculating too. So very easy to tell the difference between coins and Shadowstones. So gold, price per item. So if you're selling something on the Emporium, there is a 3% fee which goes directly to Cliff. Helps support the development of this game. Maybe in the future it'll be used for a team that can keep supporting this game and make it just absolutely even more amazing in the future for us. So then it shows what your net income would be. Looks like there's an info button that you can click here for more info. Maybe it explains the transaction because this is more like real world money. This is cryptocurrency, right? Minimum price. And then, so yeah, they look pretty similar. A few more options for in-game Emporium. There's also a confirmation screen when listing items to ensure you double check what you're about to create an order for. So it says create a sell order, you're creating a sell order for blah blah blah, amber grapes at 1,000 gold. Are you sure you want to create this? Yes, create, cancel. So that's good. Always good to have pop-up screens so people can't say, I didn't mean to do that. Or it, helps the misclicks. Combat. Critical hit has been added to round out the chance of a miss. This dynamic will evolve over time and with future updates. So critical hit has been added. Some rooms will lock upon entry and will only open once all monsters are disposed of. In more difficult adventures, there's a chance for mini-bosses to spawn too. Okay. Sometimes a chest will appear on the map, but won't materialize until one of these rooms has been completed. Okay, interesting. Monsters have new health and damage values. You're going to find it weird and possibly more difficult than what you're used to. So maybe some monsters that we were used to 2-shotting, you're going to take 5 shots or something like that. Or maybe they look like they're weaklings and they actually have a whole lot more health than we're used to. So it's going to be weird. Things are about to get weird. But this is because you've become accustomed to the old way. So this is the new way. Take some extra potions with you and possibly a teleport scroll while you get used to it. Yep, very good advice. I know I will be. So titles now have rarity. All titles, new and existing, have been assigned a rarity based on when they occurred. This means that whenever your title is displayed, it'll be colorized to the rarity. The window where you choose your title has also been redesigned to accommodate this change. So right here he's got some rare blue elemental egg hunter title, holiness of his coliness, and then yeah, so depending on when you get it, so if you're the very first person to get some titles, it's gonna have a higher rarity, I guess. So some people might really like that. Just small quality of life thing there, it looks like. But maybe some of these titles will come with stats in the future, bonuses, who knows. But it's a new feature for the game, so looks good. Quality of life. There's a ton of new quality of life updates. Some of the more hidden updates are: hold control when middle clicking to exclude tools in your inventory. This ensures you keep your tools in your inventory when you're offloading all your items in your stash. Well, that's nice. Deposit all. So hold control when you're middle clicking. So I'm not really used to middle clicking. Usually it's right click, but if you're depositing all, hold control and you'll just keep your tools in your stash. That's pretty nice. The stash now has a drop-down menu to choose an adventure. This will filter your entire stash to the limits of the adventure, meaning you no longer need to remember which items you can use there. So that's great. So if you say, okay, I'm about to do, as this picture is showing, Bron Woodlands, then it's going to filter your relics and your weapons and everything that you can take into that dungeon. Healing potions and bombs, I assume, too. And then you can just select your loadout from there. So it's not as good as having predefined loadouts, but I can see why he didn't set that. But this is great. This is going to help a lot, especially when we have 15 adventures now. There are plenty of other updates. The rest I've left for you to discover yourselves. I can't wait. And okay, so he's got new daily rewards. The daily rewards have been refreshed slightly, and there's now a new mystery reward. Who knows what you may find? So that's cool. So instead of previously, it used to give you 10,000 gold. Every time you did a week and you got to day 7, it was 10,000 gold. It said mystery reward. Apparently now it is a mystery reward, so that sounds nice. The countdown timer will appear at all stages now too, and everyone's timer depends on when they started. So if you completed your first day 1 daily reward at 9 p.m. Eastern, for example, that's when your timer starts, and you're gonna have to complete day 2 before 9 p.m. Eastern. That's how I take this. So it says, rather than it being synced to the server and possibly out of step with your schedule. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Website player profiles. Now you now have a player profile available on the website. You can search for players at lostrelics.io /players, or directly navigate to them from the leaderboards. Initially, you'll be able to see skills in the player's loadout, with more things to come in the near future. Oh, so that's pretty nice. You can see you know, what people did. If it shows on the Overseer or something that somebody completed a new dungeon, and how the heck did they do that? You can search for that player and see the loadout that they currently have. That's pretty nice. News and patch notes have been combined into one stream at lostrelics.io /updates. This allows you to always see the latest information about what's happening. So let's jump over there. I think I had that pulled up. No, we can go. You can also select it. News, updates. There it is. So major patch 178, Chaos Unleashed. That's the name of this patch. So super exciting. And it lists some of the things we're reading in the Medium article right here. So this was posted 7 hours ago. So yeah, and then he says Fiat Payments. I've been too busy working on the update to be able to complete this yet. It's next on my list though, and I'm hoping to have a solution up and running soon. In the meantime, you can continue to make payments with cryptocurrency. So for the monthly pendants, or the 90-day pendants, 30-day pendants, 7-day pendants. You can still get those, as well as some of the starter pets, which I purchased a cow. I had to do it, so love my little cow. An old friend makes a return. About 2 years after the first event, Stampede was held. So this is before my time. Stampede tokens were discovered in the dungeons and later could be turned in for other items. There are still a lot of tokens floating around on the marketplace or hidden in wallets. I was hoping to reclaim them all, but it's proved more difficult. Very difficult. As a final chance, you can turn in 6 Stampede tokens to claim the Lost Stampeder, a rare two-handed sword. So yeah, it says it's a two-handed sword there. There's a picture of it. We've seen it up above too. There's no need to go ahead with this. This is just a special 2-year anniversary for those who read this far. If you don't have any, but you want to guarantee yourself the last Stampeder, you might still be able to pick up some from other players at Nginx Marketplace, if it makes sense for you financially. So I looked up these tokens. It looked like they were going for 20 Eng a piece. So for me, to get a rare sword for 20 Eng times 6, you're talking 120 Eng about. You're talking about 180 bucks. 120 Eng is, at the time of this, it's about what a legendary melee weapon is going for. So you can get some epic weapons for the same price as these Stampede tokens as of this video. So marketplace is constantly changing. We'll see what happens here. So that's it. I hope you guys are super excited. It's now 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go check Discord. Hopefully this update hits soon. I'm not going to rush it, but hope you found this helpful. Hopefully I didn't get too much wrong. And like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate it. See you guys in game. In game name, Lord Moo Cow. Talk to you later. Bye.